Good morning, crypto Twitter is missing crypto, spreading crypto with adoption, showing its benefits to my generation. Shout out to all my people, Gen Z needs to be included. It's really that simple. We are savage, amazeball, zesty, making money at the same time, spread peace. I feel empty if you don't include Gen Z. About to change the world, so y'all better get ready. Missing crypto, I'm never backing down. I got a wax account, you should say it out. So many NFTs, I think I lost count, and I'm only getting started. Yeah, I'm barely off the ground. Missing crypto, you cannot stop me. My hands are making diamonds, your hands fall like origami. Never be the boss of me. Bitcoin's all I need. When I say I'm zesty, that's just me talking honestly. Crypto and yum farm marketplace. I wanna see the more we gotta go through cyberspace. Leave this world without a trace. Save a for a different day, cause we partners in the crypto city state.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Miss Teen Crypto Show. I hope everybody's having a very happy Thursday today. As you can see, I got a new blue background trying to spice it up. Also got some Christmas trees, for the holiday spirit, wearing a Christmas sweater. So we're getting in here, we're getting zesty, we're getting spicy. Sorry about that glitch, guys. Please share out this new live stream link. That would be amazing. Also, big shout out to Wax Blockchain for sponsoring the Miss Teen Crypto Show today. I actually give away NFTs based on Wax every week. If you want to look at more information on Wax and to get started, click the link in the description. You're all there to go look at Wax, learn what it is, how to get your wallet started. If you guys look at that QR code on the bottom right of your screen, you'll see that if you're the first one to scan it, you'll get a free NFT, or click this link in the chat right now. And what's better than free NFTs? So I would love to introduce today's zesty guest, Bryce Crypto. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, it's been so long. I feel like it's been years. Time in crypto just moves so fast and everything's so fast paced. I know you've been around for quite a long time and you have such a great presence in the community, and I've been a fan since I met you. And I think we met in person for the first time October 2020. So we've had this zesty bond for a while, and I'm so happy we're finally on the stream together. And I would love if you could, shed a little light on your life before crypto. Of course.
I don't put the content out that most people are wanting to hear. I just try to put the truth out there, as much as, that may be a detriment. I find that being real is the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
Now, prior to me getting involved in crypto, music was a big part of my life. I used to sing in metal bands, DJ'd in clubs, studied a lot about just odd subjects. I always liked to research and go down different rabbit holes. It was around, I had heard about crypto for quite some time. A lot of my friends were using it for Silk Road type purposes. And, but just money never really interested me. And I started going to school for business administration in 2016. And a lot of what I was being taught, I started finding to be incorrect, especially when it came to our economics and our Federal Reserve and how fractional reserve banking and stuff worked. And I'm 46 years old, so I'm definitely old enough to be your father, which a lot of people don't think that I'm 46. But with that, I have the wisdom of what I've learned growing up and the things that I got to experience. So a lot of my stuff is a lot more on the serious side. You know, I kind of had my partying days, you know, being a singer in a band and DJing and being in clubs. So a lot of my focus is on really trying to lead this world in a better place than it was given to me. So I'm trying to put out content that inspires other people to truly be the change. And cryptocurrency was just, you know, when I first started out, my channel, it was Rice Crypto, and I was very focused on crypto and economics and teaching people about just the power of what financial freedom can bring. And then with 2020, I felt, and I haven't said this a lot with people, I've felt very undervalued in the space for quite some time in the cryptocurrency community because of the people, the caliber of people that I've interviewed, and the fact that my channel was being so shadow banned and censored. I wasn't growing.
Yeah.
And it was very frustrating, you know, interviewing some of the people that I've interviewed. And then it was when around March of 2020, I started restructuring my channel and then rebrand it, starting around the time period that me and you met in person for the first time, and went from Rice Crypto to the Rice TVX brand name, because my channel was expanded out so much further. You know, crypto is still a big part, and I do very well cover cryptocurrency. I got a weekly show that I do where me and Satoshi Sean talk about the last week in crypto, just that week's previous news that took place, and we covered on a Friday. The things that we find to be important to us. I do reviews on projects. I mean, I'm very much involved in the space, especially crypto, but I'm just taking it a step further because I truly am trying to find a way to be truly sovereign, self-governing, and not be under the attachment of these governments and mandates and all the requirements that are kind of going on in today's world that we live in.
Yep. I think it's very empowering what you're doing. Also, guys, if you see that YouTube link, that is the link to Rice's YouTube channel. Click on it, give him a subscribe. He does 3 shows on one channel, and that is amazing. So much respect there. I want to back up a little bit on, you know, when you first were introduced to crypto, what year was that?
I was introduced to crypto in like 2012, 2013, but I just didn't care about money. Money wasn't important to me. And really still money isn't really very important to me. It's just one of those things that we have to have. And the more that you have, the better it seems that you can do with making it a better impact. But it just never interested me. I was never one of those people chasing dollars. It wasn't until I really learned the corruption of the system. And even my friends who were at the time getting involved in Bitcoin, when I say they were only purchasing Bitcoin so that they could purchase things through the Silk Road website, which I'm going to leave it at that so I don't have to cause your channel any issues. But Silk Road was a free marketplace. Ross Ulbricht, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that story.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't really, when I knew about Bitcoin, weren't investing in Bitcoin because they saw the power of what cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies were doing. They were doing it as a workaround for being able to get items that they were trying to get. And I wish I would have purchased a little bit and just let them sit. But again, it just wasn't something that was important to me. I finally dove in 2017.
Wow.
And I had been looking at the markets throughout 2016 and still just wasn't quite sure. And then I made a few mistakes when I first got involved. I call it the green-eyed monster. Greed is really another name for it.
Yeah.
I figured here's some get-rich-quick schemes, and I got involved in some multi-level marketing and pretty much lost all the cryptocurrency I had. But I've been able to, with working in the space, earn crypto and kind of surpass what my initial investment was. And I'm thankful for cryptocurrency because, I mean, it's changed my life in a lot of different capacities. Now I actually, I have money for the first time in my life, a significant amount of money, which is, really beautiful. And then also knowing the little bit of impact that I've made with my channel, it's made everything really worthwhile. And it's reinvigorated me to keep fighting the fight.
No, of course. So, that's remarkable. I mean, that 4 or 5 years that you were sitting on crypto, where was this time you were ignoring crypto kind of, or it was just something you kept hearing about but wasn't, you weren't putting the time in yet?
I just wasn't, like I said, it just didn't really interest me.
Yeah.
even like my dad collected money growing up, like just various coins and dollar bills, and I understood money. He had silver, he collected gold. Those things just weren't important to me. For whatever reason, it was when I started going to school that everything started clicking, that this system is against us. The system is not designed for people to save money. It's not designed for people to be able to maintain the wealth that they have, because every year you're losing money in inflation. And there's all kinds of other things that are causing issues. But inflation is that hidden tax that people don't think about upon, like when you're seeing this now that you're getting a little bit older, but when you go to work, a general individual who works for somebody else is working 3 to 4 months out of the year just to pay taxes.
It's insane.
It's 30%. If you think about 30% of your income, that's a third of your year. There's 12 months in a year, that's 3 months. So 3 to 4 months a year, people are working for the government, and then the rest is yours. But then you lose value in that money because of these hidden taxes called inflation. And then inflation has just gotten out of hand, which is, why people need to invest in things like gold and silver and cryptocurrencies, even commodities like real estate, to be able to maintain what they have. Because if you let's say you have $10,000 right now, you put it in the bank and you're going to save it for 10 years, you're going to be able to buy less in 10 years with that money than you could have if you just would have spent it before you put it in a savings account.
100%. I remember,
and they don't teach you this in school.
Absolutely. I have never learned anything about finance in school. I remember, adults telling me $1 million is, generational wealth. I don't even think you could get a very nice studio apartment in New York for that, to buy it outright.
Right. I've heard about Billionaires Row.
It's insane. I just think that it's getting difficult to buy things. I'm seeing that more than ever. Especially, of course, growing up, understanding money, but then, getting that Christmas money from the year before that, you just can't do the same with it this year, especially,
right.
Just the 1 year difference. I think even kids are realizing that they can't buy their pack of gum for even $1 or $2 anymore. So it's definitely something that's sticking out to people more than ever. And, what aspect of Bitcoin, now that, you've been around, you've seen 2012, you've had time pass you by, you got in 2017, what aspect of crypto or Bitcoin is the most important to you?
The ones that get us away from the banks, the ones that get us away from the third parties, the ones that put the power back into the hands of the people. I come from the Satoshi Nakamoto school of cryptocurrency, the cypherpunk mentality, which a lot of the early crypto people, Bitcoin people, were libertarian. And a lot of those libertarian people were part of the Occupy Wall Street movement, in the Fed movement, and really had these ideologies of getting away from the central powers of the governments and the central banks. So the fact that we have cryptocurrency now working within the legacy system, the legacy financial system is our financial 1.0 system, the system that we're used to with the Federal Reserve and the banks and all that. The whole point was to get away from this. When Bitcoin was designed, the white paper came out on Halloween, October 31st of 2008. And then the first Bitcoin was mined January 3rd in 2009. This came right out of the housing market derivatives crisis that we had in 2008. Our financial system actually crashed. Several times they turned off the trading, like just kill switch on trading so that they couldn't crash the market. And I'll fast forward to March of 2020 in just a moment. But that was the reason why Bitcoin was created. And if you look in the first block, there's a message from a newspaper article in regards to that financial problem, that Bitcoin was created as a solution to get away from the problems of the government. The reason why the system didn't crash is because they put everything on life support with quantitative easing, with the Federal Reserve and the rest of the central banks around the world printing up money. They kept printing up money and everything was put on life support. Now, fast forward to 2020, we had this issue take place that pretty much everybody's aware of. And in March, all the news started coming out about this issue, and the markets tanked, including Bitcoin and everything else. Now, what happened was the stock markets did the same thing they did in 2008. They put a kill switch on and stopped trading 3 separate times in March of 2020. The system was already done. That would have collapsed it, but then they kept printing up more money. And that's where we have this quantitative infinity. And that's why you're feeling the inflation so quickly in such a short amount of time. See, being 46 years old, going and buying comic books, I can remember buying a comic book for $1, maybe $1.50. Now the cheapest comic book I've seen is like $5 just to buy a comic book. You know, I used to be able to go to the store and buy Reese's cups for under $1. somewhere around like 50 to 60. It was 50 cents, I think, with tax.
Get out. That's insane.
And even just recently, I've seen like Little Debbie snack cakes where they have the honey buns. They were 50 cents for a honey bun. Well, they raised it to 55 cents. And I guess people complained about the 5-cent inflation. So what they did was they brought it back down to 50 cents. They made it smaller.
Yeah.
And you might notice that the food that you're getting less in the box. When the box is this big, you're only getting this much in the box. And that's what people like to call shrinkflation. But it's where companies are trying to maintain getting the same amount of profit while giving less to the consumer. And I've just seen this happen in my lifetime. I've seen it happen over years. But you know, fortunately for someone like yourself who's younger, you get to see this kind of in a quick motion. And you can see how much stuff has just changed in a year. And people are starting to lose their faith in governments and in the US dollar because these things are being controlled and manipulated. And if you go to the Federal Reserve website, they have a FRED chart, FRED, and you can look at the dollar index from the point that it was created in 1913 under the Federal Reserve when they took over. From 1913 on, the dollar has just been losing purchasing power.
Yep.
And from the point that it's lost 98% of its purchasing power since 1913. It used to be in 1920. You could take a $20 bill, go to a bank and exchange it for an ounce of silver. Back then, you could buy a nice suit for $20 for an ounce of gold. Today, you could still buy a nice suit for an ounce of gold, about $2,000, $1,900, $1,800. You can buy a nice suit, but you can't buy a nice suit for $20.
Not at all.
But it used to be that a $20 bill was equal to an ounce of gold. But we had a president that took us off the gold standard in 1973.
Yep.
Richard Nixon. It might 71 or 73, but I think it was 73 with the Nixon shock. And that's what completely took us to a fiat system where nothing backed our dollars. I used to be under the magical spell that the dollar was backed by something. And I started realizing it's not. And then the argument of Bitcoin is not backed by anything. Well, it's not controlled by governments. It's not controlled by a central bank. And it's backed by energy. And we give value to things. Actually, this came from Travis, right from Bad Crypto.
Travis.
These are puka shells. These used to be a form of currency.
Yes. Yes, they were.
So we can assign value to anything.
We really can. Absolutely.
And that's, ultimately I got involved in crypto because I want to see the end of money.
Mm-hmm.
Money is a big problem for humanity. We fight over it. People become greedy over it. And there's enough to go around on this planet for everybody to be able to get by, even with the population that we have now. So when we talk about us not having enough resources for everybody on the planet, that's not truthful.
I mean, the shrinkflation made me laugh because, the $2 bag of chips, they used to be huge, like bigger than my head.
Yeah,
and now I went to the store and the $2 bags are now like this big and still like half air because, that's how it always is. It's just very shocking. And I'm just like looking at things. Even my little sister, she's like picking things up. Like it could be like a coffee cake or something. And it's just not as big. And, shrinkflation is real. It's absolutely ludicrous. And, I remember March 2020, like all this drama going down with the stock market. And I was like, Bitcoin fixes this. Crypto fixes this. This is a market where it's 24/7. And everyone's in control.
It does. Now the problem with March of 2020 is that obviously the rest of the world is not quite where we are with agreements that this fixes that problem. So whenever you have an issue like this, like what happened in March of 2020, you're going to see a sell-off of everything. Everybody's going to be going back into the dollar because they think the dollar is the strongest thing at the time. Then they realize and they switch back. So if you look at what happened in 2008, everything tanked, gold, silver, everything went down. But then as soon as the smoke started clearing, people started putting their money back into store of wealth, safe haven assets. Gold and silver are safe haven assets, where Bitcoin could become a safe haven asset, but because of the volatility, you can't have it as a safe haven asset. Gold has proven itself to be a store of wealth, which a store of wealth lets you maintain what you have. So the idea of investing in gold is not to get rich. It's just to keep what you have. Just to keep it even, keep it afloat, keep going, with where everything's at. So that's why they say it's a store of wealth. And eventually Bitcoin can get to that point. And some people are treating it to that point because ultimately every year it's going up. It's on an upward trajectory.
Yes. More or less
regardless of the short
200%.
term. Yeah. So, I mean, if you really think about it logically, I mean, those would be smart moves to be able to combat what's going on with inflation. Because, I mean, I still don't feel like we've really truly felt the pain of what has happened in 2020 as far as all the money printing. We're just starting to. It's just starting to kind of like bleed through a little bit. But we haven't really felt it. And when it really hits, it's not going to be that great. You can look at countries like Venezuela and Zimbabwe as examples. I hate to be like the bearer of bad news, but again, I'm a realist and I try to bring people real information because there's ways that we can get around this together. If we all have a similar mindset and we realize who the problem is to avoid the problem. And that would be the banks, the third party intermediaries.
Yeah. It's a struggle. A lot of people that I talk to still don't know why we just can't keep printing. So, like a lot of people still haven't felt inflation. I think that's, why people, aren't really delving into crypto yet, just because they're probably just not aware. You know what I mean? And that's, just lack of education, schooling and all this stuff. Bitcoin, it's starting to hit mainstream media more than when I got in, at least. I've been seeing a lot more mainstream media coverage and things like that. But you being an independent journalist, that I feel like is very courageous on its own, finding out, getting the inner scoop and taking it upon yourself to bring this information to the public. Where
you are too, lady. You are a journalist yourself. You go out on the street with a microphone and you interview people. You're finding information. I mean, there's different levels of what journalism is, and anybody can be a journalist. We have this thing called the First Amendment. So, don't. You've got a bright future ahead of yourself. So, I mean, anything you're thinking about me, just take it and take it further, because you have a lot more mainstream appeal than I do. So you have the ability to reach more people than I would. And I realize that. I mean, the way I look is going to turn some people off. I mean, some people don't want to take a guy with a mohawk and tattoos very seriously. But if you listen, you might change your mind. You might change your opinion about judging people.
I always took you seriously. I love your look, man.
Well, I appreciate you, but you're younger, so older people are going to look at me like, who is this hoodlum?
No. Oh my gosh. No.
But I feel like I'm trying to represent something. I'm trying to change people's opinions. I'm trying to change those paradigms. So if you want to look at a book and judge it by its cover, maybe if you read it, you might realize, I misjudged this book.
Absolutely. You are the man, Rice. You're doing amazing things. And when did you originally start your YouTube channel again? Rice Crypto, now Rice TVX.
This is a funny story, and it works with a mutual friend of ours. So I started my channel I started in late 2017. I think it was like October, but I didn't put my first video out until early January of 2018. Oh. And I was procrastinating. I didn't have external microphone, external camera. When I first started my channel, I was using my laptop, mic, and camera. So I ended up having to just go with what I had and then improve and upgrade as I could as I was going along. It was somebody a few months before that had connected me up with Ken Bozak. And I was talking with Bozak about trying to do a show together. And Ken's like, well, I'm a solo player. I don't work with others, blah, 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 blah.
Boo.
And then he invited me on for Not Another Bitcoin interview. We scheduled it right around this time in 2017. And then early January, I did the appearance. By the time we scheduled it, by the time we actually did the live stream, Not Another Bitcoin interview with Chris Rice Crypto, I had put out 3 videos on my channel. So it was Ken's interview that really lit fire under me to make me do something instead of procrastinating, because I didn't want to just go on his channel and just be some guy.
Yeah.
So I had my channel, already had three videos. And then within 2 months, me and Ken and another person started a show together called Last Week in Crypto. And I totally changed Ken's paradigm of being a solo dude who didn't play well with others to now that's all he can do is play well with others.
Yeah, he does. That's amazing.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful to see that transition. But
Absolutely.
And he's always been very supportive of me. I love Ken. But one of my goals was to pass him up in a subscriber count on YouTube. And I was able to do that. So
amazing. Good for you, man. Also good for
I
Ken.
still love Ken.
Shout out
and
to
you know,
Ken.
and Ken's so supportive of what I do, and I can't thank
Same.
him enough.
Same here. He's been one of my supporters since the start, just like you, and totally grateful for you both. And he's a great guy. He definitely taught a lot. He gave away a lot. But
Big heart.
yeah, but so do you. You have a big heart, and that's why you're doing all this. That's why you're putting out all this information, and you care. You care about the people, which I appreciate. I care about you. I want to ask you, what is one of your favorite stories or people that you have interviewed, and why?
Okay. Well, I mean, I have individual stories for a lot, but I mean, if I had to just pick one person I interviewed, it sucks now to say it, as a claim to fame, because unfortunately, I'm speaking about John McAfee, and he's now passed away. But I had the pleasure of being able to interview him more times than anybody else in the entire world, and he even recorded a speech for a conference I went to, free. And this is things that he would charge people for. But for some reason, he took a liking to me. And the really cool thing was, it's interesting with timing, because I'm getting ready to, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be re-releasing some of my older interviews so I can keep content coming out during the holidays while I'm trying not to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take all my McAfee interviews and put them all in one video, even like the unedited stuff from how we were talking about before we started recording. Or before we went live, I was recording some of those conversations. And so I never knew which John McAfee I would get. But then as we developed a relationship, it was just, he didn't tell me no about anything. And being able to follow his experiences of the first time I interviewed him, he wasn't on the run. He wasn't wanted for anything. He was living in North Carolina on Hatteras Island. I live in North Carolina. He was about 4 hours away from me. He invited me to come to his home before I could even make plans and get out there. Because it wasn't something I could just do like tomorrow.
Yeah.
He ends up going on the run. So all my interviews, the first interview was before any of the stuff with him going on the run, and then I got to follow him all the way around. So like my interviews, you can almost see the whole entire experience of what he was dealing with being on the run. Because I talked to him in Bahamas, Cuba, several times when he went off grid. Because once he went from North Carolina to Bahamas to Cuba to the Dominican Republic to the UK, and then he went off grid.
Wow.
And at that point, they wouldn't even tell me what time zone they were in. They were just telling me, give us times and days and times that you're available, and we'll let you know what works. And I'm actually supposed to be talking with Janice here soon. She's agreed to do an interview, but she doesn't have good internet right now.
Yeah.
So I've been talking with her on Skype and on Twitter. But I have so many awesome experiences. I got to interview Charlie Lee and become sort of friends with him. I could hit him up whenever and ask him questions. I got to interview Fluffy Pony, but before I did the interview with Fluffy Pony, I'm meeting him at a small meetup in Las Vegas, and then me and him and Ken go to with some other people. Mike Salvi was with us. We went to a tattoo shop where Fluffy Pony met us and paid for Ken to get his Monero tattoo.
I was just gonna say, is that when that went down?
Yeah, so I mean, it's so surreal. Like even with Ken with the Charlie Lee stuff, when we went to Consensus in 2019, Magical Crypto Con was going on, which was one of the things that Fluffy Pony and Charlie Lee were a part of this Magical Crypto Friends, and they had a conference. And it was raining outside, but if you had a VIP pass for the conference, you could get food from the food trucks that were outside.
Ooh.
Charlie was hungry. Ken didn't have a VIP. Somebody gave me a VIP because I snuck in like Ken would have done. And then Charlie gave Ken his laminate with his name on it and said, go get us something to eat. So get yourself something to get me this. And me and Ken are outside taking pictures with Charlie Lee's laminate. Like, we are Charlie Lee. And then
That's hilarious.
Fluffy couldn't be there because of something happened with his family. And they had a bunch of little cardboard cutouts of each one of their animal characters. Let's see. This is Charlie Lee's.
That's so
the
cute.
chicken.
That's so cute.
And then this was Fluffy Pony's, but we had a cardboard cutout of them. And me and Ken were taking Fluffy Pony's cardboard cutout around New York, taking pictures with it so he could experience New York with us.
That's great.
But
I love conferences.
A lot of my good memories with crypto revolve around Bozak.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. Oh my god, always going on adventures with him. You know, I love going to conferences too, especially, you know, Charlie Lee. Shout out to Charlie Lee. I've actually interviewed him once as well for LA Blockchain Summit, you know, celebrating 10 years of Litecoin. Absolutely amazing guy, such an intellect. Like, you know, just talking to him, I feel like, you know, it's an honor almost to talk to him. He's like, you know, he's Satoshi Light, you know what I mean? Like, he's so cool, you know, inventing Litecoin, like, that's a huge thing. And he stuck around, like, he's still here, improving. I think it's amazing. And, you know, I want to know, like, how do I articulate that? How do you feel about your YouTube channel now? And, you know, what interviews are you looking to expand or do more shows in the future? Or are these 3 shows your main thing for right now?
Well, to break it down, I mean, the three shows are kind of my main thing. And I'm originally I was just going to start another channel. So I rebranded to Rice TVX. And then the first show is Rice Crypto Show, covering crypto, blockchain, and technologies. The second show is Rice Report, which covers economics and politics. And Stranger Than Fiction kind of covers fringe topics, things that people might consider to be conspiracies. I study about law and history and things like that. I definitely want to continue in that direction. A lot of what inspired me to do my channel, there were 2 channels that really inspired me, 2 podcasts. And it's not like I'm religious about these individuals, but what they were able to do is what I'm aiming to do. So you have the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan Experience, and then London Real. London Real and Joe Rogan. So between the 2, and the reason I say that is because Joe Rogan can have anybody on his show. It's not about any specific, you know, it's not a tech show. He can have anybody on a show, and I don't want to be limited. I just want to be able to have conversations with people that I feel are making an impact in the world or that people need to learn about. Now, I've been able to interview people like G. Edward Griffin, who wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is like pretty much the Bible for people who want to learn about the Federal Reserve, how it was created. You know, I mean, I've had Jeff Berwick, been able to interview Lynn Ulbricht, Ross Ulbricht's mom from Silk Road, the Free Ross organization.
Yes.
I just don't want to be limited. I want to be able to talk to politicians. I want to be able to talk to coders. I want to be able to talk to content creators. You know, I want to be able to, if it fits under my umbrella of freedom, because I look at crypto as just one of those tools that gets us the ultimate freedom. Financial freedom is not enough to free you be a free individual. You know, so that's one of the reasons why I study a lot about law. So if anything, I mean, this show will just keep progressing. And I'm really ADD and OCD, and I was just getting really bored with just crypto.
Yeah.
You know, when it really came down to it, after like two and a half years of solidly, it was good over 2 years of solidly covering crypto. And then, you know, going down the list of some of the people I've interviewed, and then seeing at the time of, I want to say March of 2020, I had 3,000 subscribers. So once I restructured my channel is immensely grown. Now I'm like right under 24,000. Now I would love for my channel to be bigger, but because of the fact of the people that I interview, because I also interview a lot of people that YouTube kicks off. You know, I'm that guy. So it's like, oh, you're going to take away their voice. Okay, well, I'm going to give them a voice on your platform. Here you go.
Go off. Enjoy. Yeah. You have a great
So, I mean,
playlist.
you know, I'm kind of asking for it in a way, but it's all good because, I mean, I deal with, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm doing to protect our First Amendment. You know, I'm very honored to be able to go on around the blockchain on BitBoy's channel, generally once a week, usually on Fridays, but they weren't doing one this Friday.
Yeah.
So it was on yesterday. But I get to share these opinions where everybody who comes into crypto, they don't care about decentralization right now. You know, they care about Solana. Everybody talks about how awesome Solana is, but it's a centralized blockchain that turned itself off.
Yeah.
You know, Bitcoin can't turn itself off.
Nope.
So it's, you know, I feel like I have a mission still to kind of wake people up as to the true power of what cryptocurrencies represent. You know, when you can start teaching people about decentralization, holding your private keys and such like that. So, I mean, I'm always going to continue doing content when it comes to crypto. It may just end up being interviews. It may stop covering projects. I'm not sure about the future as far as that, but I will always still cover crypto in some capacities.
That's amazing. I thank you for so much for coming on the show. First of all, I really appreciate it. Like, your insights are great, and I want to have you back soon. Guys, just a shout out really quick. Saki x MTC collab is now live. I put that in the group chat. It's a very Saki Christmas. Thank you again, Rice, for coming on the show. Where can everyone find you?
Pretty much everywhere, Rice TVX. I mean, you can still on YouTube, if you search Rice Crypto, you'll be able to find my videos.
Yep.
But again, it's like, I know a lot of what you do is very fun and lighthearted, and I really appreciate it. So it's kind of, you know, I can have fun and I do have fun, but when I'm dealing with these subjects, I'm really serious. So sometimes people are like, just lighten up. But it's 46 years old, I got a mission to wake people up, and I don't really have a lot of time to play.
Oh, you have plenty of time. Stop it, Rice. You're such
I don't
a
mean
youngster.
it like I don't mean it like I'm gonna die tomorrow. I'm just saying, like, I've had my fun in life, and you know, so I'm really very focused on doing what I can to really make a difference and make a lot of mistakes in the process and just try to learn from it. You know, I would really encourage people just to, if you think about things in life that you don't like, instead of complaining about the things that you don't like, I would encourage you to actually do something to try to change those things. And even if it's just you trying to be a better person, when you do these kind of things, you're able to inspire other people because they can see it by your example. Yeah. As opposed to telling people what they should do. Lead by example, you know, in a lot of different ways. There's lots of different ways that you can do that, but just evaluate who you are and try to be the best that you can be the very next day. And if you make a mistake, own up to it and don't let it hold you down. Just keep moving forward and learn from your mistakes.
I love that. That was so deep. Be the change, guys. Be the
That's
change.
what practice change is about.
Yes, exactly. Be the change, guys. I just dropped another free NFT in the chat. That will be the last one for today's stream. Scan the QR code. Click the link in the live chat right now. I really want to just shout out everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out with us. Mark, Tom, oh my gosh, Randy. There's so many people. Crypto Pumper, NRV Gaming, Tom Allen, Go Flamingo, Red Fox, Papa Joe. Oh my gosh, there is a whole squad.
Are we streaming on your Twitter account too?
Yes, we are streaming everywhere. Twitch.
Okay, cool.
Twitter, YouTube, DLive. We are everywhere. Awesome. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, smash the thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. We're always getting zesty over here. We're always hanging out. There's always good vibes and free NFTs. You know, why not hang around for a free NFT? I really appreciate you guys for coming on. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, and if I don't see you guys, a very, very Happy New Year. Thank you again. And as always, stay zesty. Peace.
Much love.
Good morning, crypto Twitter is Misty Crypto, spreading crypto with adoption, showing its benefits to my generation. Shout out to all my people, Gen Z needs to be included. It's really that simple. We are savage, amazed, boss, zesty, making money at the same time. Spread peace. I feel empty if you don't include Gen Z. About to change the world, so y'all better get ready. Misty Crypto, I'm never backing down. I got a wax account. You should check it out. So many NFTs, I think I lost count.